I've been doing AI and hyperautomation for the last 12 years. I've been doing it at the enterprise level. It's that in the last couple of years where I think the MSP community has come together to be able to bite-size what's been done in the enterprise so we can use it and adopt it faster within our ecosystem. The goal should be for every organization here, how do I create 10 digital workers for my organization? And what are those use cases? I'll give you some ideas of what some of those use cases are later in the presentation. So an average MSP spends about 20 minutes per client to be able to onboard an M365 user. With a digital worker, that takes off 15 minutes of that 20 minutes. You can onboard a new user in 5 minutes. Here's a list of all the onboarding things she does. Everything from cloning a user, creating a temporary password, adding a new user to all the groups, all the typical things that nobody here really wakes up in the morning thinking, hey, how can I onboard a new user today? That's my job, right? You take that away, you automate it, you put it into a digital worker. And then what's even more time consuming is the offboarding process. So when somebody's leaving you, how do you actually go through and offboard that process automatically, right? So this digital worker actually goes through, it's pre-built, you configure it, put in all the variables, make it how your business runs and onboards and offboards a user, and you go through and you have an automation already built into your organization. It's going to save you time and money. So let's break it down. I talked about Olivia as an example, but what is a digital worker and how does it apply to you directly? So it's a mix of workflow. So how do we take the processes that are in your organization, identify which ones are best suited for automation? So we'll build a workflow. It's going to automate that process. We add an RPA, which starts to look at the individual tasks-based assignments within a process. And then we start to automate those tasks that are part of a process. And then we start to apply agentic AI, Gen AI to be able to write context, to document what we're automating as we resolve a particular ticket. Here's one that's related to workflows. It's Quadrivium. They're an IT service company based out of Arkansas. They have, from an endpoint perspective, 2,000 endpoints. And so they're looking to automate their manual processes. And what they do is they use something they used RPA plus the AI sidekick that we have. In 90 days, they saved 532 hours, which saved them about $15,000. And then you take that, and as they roll into the 12-month cycle, they're expecting to save about $48,000, and they only paid $12,000 to create these automations with people, time, licenses. It's a pretty good return for just one automation. So now let's talk a little bit about AI and how it fits into the MSP ecosystem. Right? I'm not going to bore you with slides of different types of AI and things like that. You've heard about AI, you've probably read up on it. I want to tell you what's unique to the MSP community and what are we doing to help you understand how to use AI. But 33% of MSPs invested in AI in 2023. I don't have the recent numbers going into 2024. 73% are encouraging their employees to use AI, and there's an average about a 40% increase in productivity across the whole SMB ecosystem. So there's definitely value in there. Just have to figure out how to use it and when to use it. So as you leave here today, you need to figure out where you stand in this. Right? Are you a beginner? Are you an explorer? Are you an expert? There's different categories, and there's white papers out there on this, so you can figure out in more detail what's the checklist. There's assessments out there you can look at. So the other thing that you want to think about as an MSP community is how much of this is analytical? What do you do with the actual data around this? Do you have access to the data that you're using every day? So there's a bunch of different questions you want to ask as you go through this journey. Each one will lead you down a different path, but either way, you want to figure out if you want to do productivity, if you want to focus on cost effectiveness or efficiencies. So in closing, a few things to think about. One is constant change in the MSP world. Number two, hyperautomation, in this case it's AI plus automation, represents one of the biggest opportunities that you as an MSP can look at. That's going to increase productivity, operationally make you more effective, and increase your margins.